You know, when we think about borders, we usually picture these clear, simple lines that divide one country from another. But what if I told you that some of those lines are anything but simple? Some run straight through hotel beds, others get completely lost in lakes, and one was even built from scratch, right in the middle of the ocean. So yeah, let's dive into some of the world's absolute strangest borders.
So let me just ask you this right at the top. When you hear the word border, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
I'm guessing you're probably picturing something just like this, right? A fence, maybe a guard post, a very definite line where one place ends and another one begins. It's clean, it's clear, it's what we expect.
But that's the textbook version. The reality? All the reality is so much weirder. Thanks to history, geography, and just some wild human ideas, some borders out there completely defy logic, and we're going to explore them.
Okay, first up, let's start with an example that takes the whole idea of a secure border to its absolute and kind of terrifying extreme, the Korean DMZ. This border between North and South Korea popped into existence back in 1953. And here's the key thing to remember. It wasn't a peace treaty. It was just a ceasefire. That tension is literally baked into the ground there.
And here's where it gets really ironic. It's called the Demilitarized Zone, but it is, without a doubt, the most heavily militarized border on the entire planet. We're talking a 4-kilometer-wide strip of true no-man's land with a shoot-on-sight policy. But, and this is the wild part, because humans haven't set foot in most of it for over 70 years, it's become this accidental wildlife paradise full of endangered species. It's a border of pure danger and somehow an unexpected sanctuary.
Okay, so not all strange borders are dangerous. Some are just, well, they're just weird. They're born from historical accidents, treaty loopholes, and some pretty bizarre agreements. Let's get into some of these geopolitical oddities. Now, that sounds like the setup to a joke, right? But believe it or not, for one little hotel on the border of France and Switzerland, it's just another Tuesday. Welcome to the Hotel Arbez. You see, this building was originally a bar and a grocery store, and it was cleverly built right before the border was officially drawn. So now that line runs straight through the building. The bar is in France. The shop, that's in Switzerland. You can literally go to sleep with your head in France and your feet in Switzerland. And get this, the French side takes euros and the Swiss side takes francs. It's a logistical nightmare, and it's absolutely amazing. Our next story is all about a single word in a treaty that's over 350 years old. Back in 1659, Spain agreed to give France all its surrounding villages. But Livia, which was the ancient capital of that whole area, argued, hey, wait a minute, we're not a village, we're a town. And because of that one-word loophole, it stayed Spanish. The result? A little piece of Spain, totally landlocked and surrounded by France. It's a true geopolitical island.
You know, sometimes it's not some old treaty that makes a border strange, it's nature itself. So let's take a look at borders that are defined by massive mountains and really confusing lakes.
Just look at that number, 17,400 feet. Let that sink in for a second. That is the mind-boggling altitude of our next border crossing. This is the Hunjarat Pass, the link between Pakistan and China. It's the highest paved international crossing anywhere on Earth. And even though there were easier ways to build a road, they chose this route specifically for security reasons. It's so high up and so remote that heavy snow just shuts it down for 5 months every single year. Oh, and as a little fun fact, it's also home to the world's highest ATM. Just a truly extreme and beautiful border.
So we just went from a very, very clearly defined mountain pass to a border that, well, isn't defined at all. Meet Lake Constance. It's touched by Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. The borders around the lake are totally clear, but the border inside the lake, no one's ever officially agreed on it. For centuries, the three countries have basically just agreed to disagree, creating one of the most wonderfully ambiguous borders in the world.
All right, we've seen borders made by war, by accident, and by nature. But what about a border that was built completely on purpose, in the middle of the ocean? So back in the 80s, Saudi Arabia and Bahrain wanted to build a massive 25-kilometer causeway to connect their countries and boost trade. Great idea. But it created a huge problem. Every border needs a checkpoint, right? Customs, immigration, the whole deal. But neither country wanted this giant facility built on its own land. So what do?
Their solution was just one of the most brilliant and audacious feats of modern engineering. They didn't just build a checkpoint, they built the border itself. Literally. They constructed an entirely new, man-made island right in the middle of the causeway to act as this neutral hub for customs and immigration. Today, it's known as Passport Island, an incredible monument to human ingenuity.
So, after this whole journey through all these incredible places, it feels like it's time to go back to that first question we had and really rethink what a border actually is.
I mean, just think about what we've seen. A border can be so much more than a fence. It can be a historical quirk that cuts a hotel room in half. It can be a massive geographical challenge way up in the mountains, a diplomatic puzzle lost in a lake, or it can be an incredible piece of engineering built from nothing. These lines are shaped by conflict, by cooperation, and, let's be honest, sometimes by just pure absurdity.
These lines we draw on maps, they're obviously powerful. They define nations, they shape our identities, but as we've just seen, they're also wonderfully, strangely, and complicatedly human. It really makes you wonder, what does a line on a map truly represent? Thanks for joining me on this one.